Gaza is under attack, and the people are witnessing unspeakable horrors, with no fuel, medicine, water, or food, with their homes and schools and hospitals getting demolished and whole families being killed. They're trapped and desperate. And with the borders fortified with concrete and double wiring, there's just no way out. Despite all the media coverage of Gaza, it's surprising how little is known about the people and place and the context of their struggle. Let's take a moment to understand Gaza and learn what it's like to live there. Gaza is part of Palestine. It's surrounded by Egypt, Israel, and the Mediterranean Sea. It's tiny, really tiny, 40 kilometers in length and 12 kilometers at its widest point. 2.3 million people are crammed into that tiny space. It's one of the most densely populated parts of the world. Now, why are so many people there? 70% of Gaza's inhabitants are refugees and their descendants from 1948. When Israel was founded 75 years ago, it demolished 29 villages in Palestine. Tens of thousands of people were forced to flee, and they went to Gaza. That event is referred to as Nakba, the Arabic word for disaster. Israel never allowed them to return. So what has happened since? A struggle for control over Gaza, which has destroyed the freedom and dignity of the Palestinians living there. In 1967, Israel seized control of Gaza and imposed military rule. People were forced off their land, and more than 20 Israeli settlements were built. In the early 1990s, Israel cut off Gaza from the outside world. It was nearly impossible to leave or enter Gaza. In 2005, Israel pulled its soldiers and troops out of Gaza, but it retained control of Gaza's borders, economy, and airspace. But then, in 2006, something happened that incensed Israel. Elections were held in Palestine, and Hamas won. It beat its rival Fatah, which was seen as corrupt and ineffective. So Hamas would from then on govern Gaza. But Israel still controlled the borders, economy, and airspace. It controlled water, electricity, telecommunications, and more. That's why the United Nations, international bodies, and most governments still consider Gaza to be under Israeli occupation. Israel ramped up its control of Gaza. It closed border crossings and imposed the blockade. Most imports and exports were blocked. There were limits on necessities like food, fuel, and construction materials. Travel was banned. Fishermen were restricted in terms of how far they could go out to sea. All this destroyed Gaza's economy, and it destroyed the lives of Palestinians in Gaza. It's why people refer to Gaza as the world's largest open-air prison. Things we take for granted, Palestinians in Gaza have to ration. Things like water, electricity, food. The healthcare system is depleted, and Israel rarely allows patients to leave Gaza to seek proper treatment. It doesn't allow gifted students to leave on scholarships. As a result, more than half the population lives under the poverty line. There are high levels of malnutrition. Depression and anxiety are at an all-time high, and it's impossible for young people, most of whom are highly educated, to find work. Gaza has the highest unemployment rate in the world at 45%, and for young people, that number soars to 70%. In 2020, the United Nations said that if things didn't change, Gaza would be unlivable by 2020. Well, guess what? Things have deteriorated since. Israel launched 4 major airstrikes in Gaza. These killed thousands of people and terrorized those who survived. The attacks destroyed tens of thousands of homes and buildings. With limitations on imports and the inability to rebuild or plan for the future, Gaza has only gone downhill. So even before this present escalation of attacks, Gaza's residents were shut off from the rest of the world. They had undergone years of deprivation and suffering, and they could see no way out. Meanwhile, half the population is under 18. Most of them didn't even vote for Hamas. These are the people who are being mowed down as if they're not human. These are the people who aren't invisible in mainstream media and Western political discourse. These are the people who are being collectively punished in the worst possible way for no fault of their own. The people of Gaza are people like any of us. They have hopes and dreams. They laugh and cry. They don't deserve to suffer and die. I pray that our political leaders will come to their senses, recognize the people in Gaza as equal human beings, and end the brutal occupation that has denied them their freedom and dignity. In the meantime, we do what God asks of us. We pray, we learn, we share the truth with others, and we work together to build a more promising future for our Palestinian brothers and sisters in Gaza and beyond. I'm Safiyyah Ally for Let the Quran Speak. Assalamu alaikum.
We have some exciting news to share with you.
As you know, Let the Quran Speak has been on TV screens and social media for 22 years.
We've been reaching people all around the world, spreading positivity and good and helping people experience the beauty of Islam and the accomplishments of Muslims.
We've been shooting in this very space for the past 2 decades.
And now, with the help of Allah, we're about to get the keys to Muslim Media Hub.
If you like what we're doing, you're gonna love Muslim Media Hub even more.
Because it's the next step up.
Think new TV shows, podcasts, social media content, and film.
It will have new talent, more youth, and a lot more space and resources to do what we love. Spread the message of Allah.
Our Muslim Media Hub costs $2.4 million.
And for that, we need to raise $300,000. Please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help establish Muslim Media Hub so we can do this.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be of benefit to the Muslim community long after we are gone.
Thank you, and may Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always.
Assalamu alaikum.